Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Dragon Ball Nation. Now today I'm going to be discussing the possibility of a third Dragon Ball movie from recent memory, at least a new upcoming Dragon Ball movie, if we're going to actually get that. And I know that, a lot of you people are saying Fukatsu no F isn't even out in, the US, it's not even out on Blu-ray. It's been released in Japan and very well received, obviously. But there was talk that, if Fukatsu no OF did well, fans expected there to be a third film, and that is still possible. But this was all discussed before we had the information of Dragon Ball Super, and that's the reason I want to discuss this. I wasn't going to discuss this before, but now that Dragon Ball Super is here, I think it's very interesting to talk about as a marketing standpoint, because this is kind of a different video, at least from what I usually talk about. This is more on the business end of things and not exactly what we want. So will we see another movie? I think it's very highly possible, even if we're getting Dragon Ball Super. But the question is, are we going to get it before Super is over with, depending on how long that series is, or if it's going to come after? And also, is it going to be a Dragon Ball Z film, or is it going to be a Dragon Ball Super film? Now, that's an interesting question in itself, and I think the answer would be it's going to be a Dragon Ball Super film, because they want to capture the most recent audience. And I think, to be honest, either one, Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super, it's going to attract fans no matter what. But I do believe they would probably call it Dragon Ball Super if it's taking place either during or after Super's, canonical runtime, I suppose. Whenever Super ends in the storyline, whenever it takes place. Unless it's taking place in the middle of Dragon Ball Z for some weird reason, I would assume the film would be called Dragon Ball Super, and then whatever the name is. So I definitely think we will see another movie. There isn't really any information leading me to believe that, other than it would be a wise move on Toei's part. And obviously the movie would do incredibly well. I think we can expect more Dragon Ball movies now. It seems what the company wants to do at this point, even if we're getting a new series. But I think it's definitely a really interesting discussion to talk about, because on the marketing side, they have this new series, and I think it would be wise for them to wait for the series end to release this film, I suppose, because we don't want I mean, if they do it after the series is over, that means fans are going to be craving a film even more. That's just my guess, but we don't know how long Super is actually going to run for yet. So I think that's all very interesting to talk about. Now, obviously, what the film will be about, I can't even begin to speculate. That can come in the future when we actually have information on Super. During Super's initial run, towards the end of that, I can discuss, what would happen to the future of the series, but that's, a year or two down the line, so definitely a long ways away, so not even worth speculating on. I mean, it could be anything for the third movie. We don't even know. So it's definitely a very interesting discussion to talk about, and I want to know what you guys think, if we're going to get a new movie or not, because I think it's very, very likely, especially to a marketing standpoint, and be a very wise move to release a third film, because Dragon Ball is such a successful franchise for all these years, and even now it's still successful, which is no surprise. But I thought it was interesting because Dragon Ball Super obviously is something we never ever expected to happen. It was very unlikely we would ever get a new series in my mind. We really just, I think most of the fan base just thought we were going to get new movies, but like I said, I assumed that after the second movie we were going to get another movie, but after the second film, which is Fukatsu no F, we get this Dragon Ball Super series. So it makes me wonder when they're going to release the movie and all that stuff. So I want to talk about that today. And like I said, I want to know what you guys think. Now, another thing I think it's interesting to talk about, aside from a big movie production like Fukatsu no F and Battle of Gods, I think one thing that maybe some of you guys have thought of when I'm doing this discussion is if we're going to see movies running through the series like we did with Dragon Ball Z, as well as the original Dragon Ball series. We saw movies that were spliced in with the episode releases. Are we going to see that, like movies like Broly and, BoJack Unbound, the cooler movies that fit places, fit the time slots of the series? They released them alongside the series runtime, as well as the movie that came after the series, which was the Hirudegarn film. And are we ever going to get those? Are we going to get those specials like the Bardock and the History of Trunks, which I guess History of Trunks wouldn't really count because it was in the manga. But aside from that, do I think we're going to get those? It's possible that we could get special episodes that are more of side stories. It's something that I definitely highly doubt. that we're gonna get. I don't think we're gonna see any little 40-minute movies or anything like that, because those were placed in the original Dragon Ball Z series to kind of spread out the time slots so they could keep in line with the manga series. When the manga was being written, they had to add those movies in kind of as filler sections, and obviously to make profit and profit on the popularity of the series, but it did help keep them in line with the manga. That's why we have so much filler in the series, because they're trying to keep in line. They have to spread things out because the manga releases are a little bit later than the episodes. So I definitely don't think we're going to get that unless the manga for Dragon Ball Super runs through the whole series. I'm not sure on all the details of the manga. I haven't been able to find much. I would assume the manga for Dragon Ball Super is going to be similar for the ones for Fukatsu no F, where they're kind of prequel things or stuff that's leading into the series. And maybe they'll release little special manga panels. I think the special manga panels would be more likely than films to happen. I think that during the series run, we can see manga spliced in. But yeah, other than that, that's all I really have to say, guys. I want to know what you guys think of all this, my thoughts, give your opinions. Like I said, this is more of a discussion on the marketing standpoint, how realistic it would be for this stuff to happen. I think anything that do with Dragon Ball is obviously going to be profitable, but they want to maximize their profit and minimize their loss. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and catch you later.